Welcome to English Without Limits. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about how often something happens. We use words called adverbs of frequency to talk about these. Does something happen often? Does it happen sometimes? Or maybe it never happens. That's what we're going to talk about today. I hope you enjoy the lesson. In our last lesson, we learned about how to give a negative answer to something. If someone asks you a question and the answer is no, how do you go about saying that? So we're going to watch this as it goes on in the class, and the class is going to ask the teacher questions. She has to answer no, even though sometimes for her the true answer would actually be yes. But just for the sake of this lesson, she's answering no. So let's join the class as their teacher Allison helps them to review how to give a negative answer. Go.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today?
Good.
Dusty. And the sun is shining. Yes, fantastic. Good. So, does anyone remember what our last lesson was on?
About who,
What?
who,
When?
what,
Where?
when,
And what about them?
not and never,
Oh, good. Not and never. And how would we use these?
we like giving questions and we have to say no, I don't eat never in my life something.
Okay. So I could say, Misha, have you ever eaten chicken? Now you have to use one of these. So Misha would have to say, I have.
Not. Well, I have never.
So who can ask another question for me that will have to answer not or never?
Do you eat never in your life? Pizza.
So you should say, do you eat pizza?
Do you eat pizza?
Do I eat pizza? No, I do not eat pizza. Leon, do you have a question? Do you like
Chicken.
Do I like chicken? No, I do not like chicken. You have a
Do
question?
you like pasta?
Do I like
Pasta.
father? Do I like my father? Well, yes, but no, I do not. One other question? How about let's try to use never. How would we use never?
Do you never?
Have you
Have you ever drink coffee?
No, I never drink coffee.
Do you like friends?
Oh, do I like my friends? No, I do not like my friends. But I really do. Good job. I think you very well with this.
You heard the teacher talking about the words not and never and how we use them in answering questions. We're going to practice this a bit now. Now, if you just answer something with not, then that just means it's not true. It's a negative answer. But sometimes we want to say something a little bit stronger, so we would say never. That means it has not happened, not even once. Not at any time did this thing happen. So let's practice this together. We're going to put some questions on the screen and I will read them to you. And if it's a regular question like, do you like ice cream? Your answer would be, no, I do not like ice cream. You must give a negative answer to these questions. But if it's a question, have you ever done something, then you must answer, I have never done that thing. So if I asked, for example, have you ever kissed a frog? Then you would answer, no, I have never kissed a frog. So I'll wait for a moment for you to give your answer, and then I'll give the correct answer. All right? Are you ready? Let's begin. Do you like pizza? No, I do not like pizza. Can you play piano? No, I cannot play piano. Is he your brother? No, he is not my brother. Have you ever been to Moscow? No, I have never been to Moscow. Would you like to go shopping? No, I would not like to go shopping. Have you ever gone swimming at night? No, I have never gone swimming at night. Do you know how to fix my bike? No, I do not know how to fix your bike. Have you ever acted in a play? No, I have never acted in a play. Have you ever tasted a kiwi fruit? No, I have never tasted a kiwi fruit. Are you the president? No, I am not the president. When you do something, you might do it every day. Or maybe you do it once a week. Or maybe you do it once a month. Or once a year. It makes a difference how often you do things. We're going to talk about that today using words that we call adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency are words that describe how often something happens. The word frequency just means how many times does it happen? How often does it happen? So we're going to learn how to express the idea that you do something very often or maybe never do it at all. Let's join the class as they begin to learn about adverbs of frequency.
So today we are moving on to something that we would call adverbs, special kind of adverbs of frequency. Yes. So, does anyone want to make a guess what that could be? Well, I have a whole bunch here. If I use the word, well, we just used one actually a little bit ago. Never. Oh. Never. And rarely, usually, always, and almost always. Sometimes, often, let's write this over. And hardly ever. And we can even say occasionally. So what are these telling us? What do you think this word here means? Frequency. It's telling us how much we do something. So I could say, how often do you go swimming?
I go swimming.
Do you go swimming sometimes?
Yes.
Almost always?
Always.
Or hardly ever? So never means you never, ever go swimming. Rarely means maybe once or twice a year. Okay? Usually, maybe you go once or twice a week. And often, that's, again, kind of once or twice a week, maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a month. Hardly ever is very close to never and rarely, because you almost never go. Occasionally, that's once a month, maybe once every 2 months. Always, I think you mean always.
Always.
Almost always, okay? So these are some different adverbs of frequency. How often do you do something?
You heard what the teacher said about these adverbs of frequency. Let's review that and see if we can add a little bit to it to make it a bit more clear. Now, an adverb is something that modifies or describes a verb. It tells us about the verb, how it is happening. And these adverbs of frequency, they tell us how often something happens. Does it happen very often or not often at all? Now let's see if we can make this a bit more clear. If you see this calendar, you see an X on this calendar. Now let's say that that X represents something that you do. Maybe it's drinking milk, or maybe it's going to school. But the point here is how often it happens. Let's examine these different adverbs of frequency and see how often things happen. Here we have a calendar that represents the idea always. Something always happens, so it's there every day on the calendar. This X means every day something happens. Maybe you drink milk every day. Now this next calendar means almost always. This is something that is not every day, but very, very often. So you see here, it's not every day, but most days this thing happens. It's almost always. The next calendar is for usually. Usually means it happens more than 50% of the time, but it's not always or almost always. So it's less than almost always, but more than 50% of the time. Now the word often is very close to that word usually. They both mean around the same thing. They're both more than 50%, but not almost always. Then when we come down again, we see another calendar for the word sometimes. The word sometimes means maybe 50% of the time. Maybe we do it about as many days as we don't do it. So sometimes is not a precise number. It does not mean exactly 50%, but it gives us an idea about how often it happens. Then we have a word like occasionally. Occasionally means it's less than 50%. It's a bit unusual, but it still happens sometimes. And then we have the two words rarely and hardly ever. They mean about the same thing. Rarely or hardly ever means that this thing does not happen very often at all. It's very rare when it happens. It might be once or twice a month, but it's quite unusual when it does happen. But it's not never. Never is the next one. If you look at this calendar, you'll see that there are no X's on it. This is for something you never do. Someone might say, I never go swimming. The teacher in this class, Megan, she said, I never drink coffee. I know Megan, and I know that's true. She does not like coffee, so she would have a calendar like this. I never drink coffee. Now, I hope this helps you to understand a bit about what these different adverbs of frequency mean. We're going to join the class as they do an activity on this, and if you have troubles remembering what some of these adverbs of frequency mean, you can come back to this part of the video and look at this list again. All right, let's join the class.
So we are going to do a little game about putting these in order. So if we were to put all of these words in order from what you do the most to what you do the least, what do you think would be at the bottom? What is something you do? Which word describes what you do the least?
Never.
Never. So you would put never at the bottom. And what would be a word that describes something that you do the most?
Always.
Always. Okay. So what you're going to do, we'll do these three and these three, and you will each have a stack of words, and you need to put them in order like this. So you already know at the top and the bottom, and you'll need to put here, 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 here. All of the rest in the middle. Okay? Okay? So we will here's a stack, here's a stack. So when you three come over here on this side, and you three come on that side. Okay? And you may begin. You can put them, so yours always will go at the top.
Okay.
And never remember it was at the bottom. So you're putting them in order.
Never.
Okay. Are we ready?